Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We went to movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained best pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the favorite bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santos podcast. Hey, hey.
Ellen, where have you been? Where's the QED report?
Rose, I tried...
Ah, yes, the QED report. I have that for you, Rose. What are you doing with it? Sue Ellen, what is Carolyn doing with it?
Kathy Henderson brought it by. Seems she's been covering for Sue Ellen, doing her work for her.
You let Kathy do the QED report?
Uh-huh.
I was wondering how you were going to get that and the research for the school presentation done. Bravo, you really know how to delegate responsibility. Carolyn, you want to be executive material? Keep an eye on Sue Ellen. You are a paragon. Ooh.
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Santos podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about their favorite flicks from childhood. I'm Sweetie.
And I'm Sweetie.
And wow, this podcast episode has been about 7 months in the making.
All right. It's going to happen, you guys.
It's just an estimate. I tried
Meant
counting on my
to
fingers.
be.
I tried counting on my fingers, but then realized I didn't care.
Yeah, we don't put dates on our
It was November.
things,
I
right?
checked the old feed of
wow.
our lowest downloaded episode to date. 10 downloads.
So let's tell you a little story. So A, this episode is about Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Number 2, this is the third time we tried to record this. Ready? First time, recorded it, and it got deleted? Question mark?
I think that the first time you saved it, I feel like it was equal parts. You messed up, I messed up.
Okay,
So that's
I'm cool
why
with
we
that.
were
I'm
like
cool with that.
not that upset about it. Or maybe I'm imagining this scenario.
Yeah,
so
equal
I don't
opportunity
feel upset.
failure. I'm into it.
Second time I was editing it, and whenever we did a thing where we paused it in between recording or something, I didn't realize that. So we use Audacity to record and edit. I didn't realize that when you do select all, it's only selecting one bar of a recording. So if you stopped it in between, it would only select the first part. So I didn't realize that and was like, oh, we only need this part. And then deleted it and then didn't save it because I'm dumb. And I was like, I have this down pat. I was getting too cocky.
And I might have got
And
mad
then
again.
and then it got deleted and I hadn't saved it and I was very upset. And I was like, oh my God, we're cursed. So we were convinced that we were cursed and that we would never be able to record an episode about Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
So my theory today was that is the ghosts of Mrs. Sturak, the
sense.
dead babysitter.
That makes sense because that lady's probably totes dead for real.
Totally. And she's a bitch, so hello. She does not want us to record this podcast. But Mrs. Sturak, fuck you, we're doing it.
Podcast rots your brains.
Yeah.
That's what she would say.
Good one. Yeah, Tangina from Poltergeist, come and get ya.
It's Tangina. Get it right or pay the price.
Tangina.
Yeah. Anyways, so let me just make sure that she's dead before we continue to be mean to her.
Let's hope so. Oldest living person in the
She
world.
could be one of those people that is not that old. Like
You
right
mean
in the
Dorothy
Golden Gores.
from
Golden Goals.
the Golden Gourds. Good show. Love
The
that one
Golden
about those
Girl-
squashes.
The Golden Girls. Estelle Getty was like the youngest one.
I just
wasn't
said not Dorothy. What's the mom's name in Golden Girls?
she? The mom? Who's mom?
She's the mom.
Oh, yeah. I know. I thought you meant... I don't know what I thought you meant.
B.
But
Arthur is Dorothy. No, Dorothy's the mom.
I don't know what her real name is. I
Shit.
forget.
God, I'm going to get
We're terrible.
torn apart for this.
Okay. Oh, never mind. I was like, oh my God, she was in Ghostbusters. But not true.
As a ghost? Come on.
Oh, wait. Was she? Lewis's neighbor? Oh my God, you guys. Sweetie alum. And we didn't even realize it.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's cool.
Okay. Anyways, yes, she died. She passed away in 1998. And she was 84.
What's that actress's name?
Edda Reese.
Etta Rice Marin.
Okay. Sweet. 10 points for pronunciation.
Etta, please be with us here today. Let this podcast go. Please.
We're going to call you a lot of names, and I'm sorry, but it's your character. It's not you.
Yeah.
So just,
She was a
just
great part of
understand
this.
that.
This movie would not be what it is today without Mrs. Sturak.
It's so true. So true.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're super thrilled this is happening. Fingers crossed. Knock on wood. All those other lucky things. And we're
Get the
going to try
Ouija.
this. So it's a little different from our normal process. We usually watch the movie right before, take a few notes, and then podcast about it. But the last time we watched this was in November. We do have our notes still in our sweetie notebooks, but they're weird.
We also have these awesome brains, though, that don't forget anything. And we've seen this movie 1,000 times.
Debatable.
So we got it.
I know, but I'm just worried that the synopsis isn't going to be as
different,
tight
for
because
sure.
it's always so tight.
Yeah.
Sarcasm.
That's what he
okay.
said.
No, none of that. Okay, so I guess we'll just throw ourselves into this and see what happens.
Yeah.
Jump in the deep end. Here we go. It's time for the
sweetie synopsis.
sweeties.
Dishes are done, man.
Sue Ellen Crandall is a 17-year-old, right? See, this is where it helps if you just watch the movie because you have these dumb details.
Yes.
Okay.
She's 17.
She's 17 years old, spending her summer vacation excited because her mother's going away on a 2-month vacation to Australia.
So first huge plot hole, right? What mother would think this is okay? I know she's leaving with them with a babysitter.
But still, that's not...
And Sue Ellen was upset, right? That they even had a babysitter. Okay, maybe this is what I wanted to complain about. This is going to be tricky. What 17-year-old would be like, sure, Mom, please leave me home alone with the 1, 2, 3, 4 other kids and myself as a 17-year-old to take care of them.
Right, so she would have had to take care of them either, like, in her... Why would she think that was fun? Like a fun summer?
Right.
Well, I guess, okay, so all of Sue Ellen's friends are going away to Paris or whatever for some, like, fancy... they're all models? I'm still confused about that. Sue Ellen's not going, so I guess her friends weren't around, so she didn't think she had a ton to do anyway. She was just going to go to the beach.
I think she's also the poor one of them.
Sure, but I'm just saying that's probably why she didn't care that she would have to take care of her brothers and sisters if her mom went to Australia. So anywho, so her mom's going off on this like 2-month exciting vacation with her boyfriend or whatever to Australia. And her mom lays upon her some unfortunate news, which is that she hired a babysitter to take care of her and her brothers and sisters. Now, her brothers and sisters are a lot. So she has a brother named Kenny, who is a pothead and who is just smokes a lot of pot and gets into trouble on the regs.
Yeah, wasted.
Played by Keith Coogan, one of our faves.
Yep.
And then they have another brother named Zach, who is 14, 13, around that age.
Who knows what the ages are in this? I'm guessing Kenny is 15. Wait, can
right.
he drive? No.
No, he doesn't in this. So
Yeah, so assuming
Probably
let's say
15.
he's 15.
Okay.
Zach's
Zach.
13-ish.
Sure.
Little Melissa.
Then Melissa, the tomboy sister, probably 12. And then the youngest one, Walter.
Great name for a little kid, by the way.
Totally, I
Love
love
that.
it. I'm taking it.
little Walt,
That's
buddy.
mine. That's mine. Little Walt.
Oh, Gilbert is another one I just found out the other day. Isn't that adorable?
No, that's
And it's like little
awful.
Gil. Little
No,
Gil.
no,
That's
no.
mine. You can't
'Cause
take
then
it.
It's like
You don't want it anyway.
Gilly. No.
No.
Okay. No, forget it. Anyways, Walter probably like 7. Who knows? These are all arbitrary ages.
Walt, buddy.
It's just whatever we feel like.
Yeah.
But that's her clan. So it's a lot of kids. So they live in this big kind of sprawling house that is kind of shitty, but a lot of acreage.
But messy and gross.
But messy, hasn't been taken care of a long
Dry,
time.
desiccated lawn.
So the babysitter comes, and it is in what looks to be a 90-year-old old lady named Mrs. Sturak. And she has those great orthopedic shoes that I love. I don't love them. That's a joke. But I hate those. They're like awful.
Nursing shoes.
Nursing shoes, nylons, like everything terrible.
Cane.
A cane, pretty bad. So everything's great. The mom's like, all right, she'll be fine. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. It'll be great. Mr. X seems nice.
Yeah. Here's a big envelope of money.
Yeah.
Everything you're going to need. Like, take good care of my kids. Bye-bye. Gonna go boink my boyfriend in Australia for 2 months. Like, okay, mom. Like, I'm all for moms, especially with 5 kids. Like, good for that mom. Like, get the fuck out of here. But it's a little excessive. 2 months? I mean, I know you're going to Australia, but like...
Or it takes like a month to get there.
Well, they're in California, so not necessarily.
I know, but still a long time. Anyway, so the second the mom leaves, the babysitter like turns on her mean bitch switch and is like, all right. She pulls a whistle out of her bag where it was around her neck the whole time hiding. I don't know.
Where did she find her? Badbabysitters.com? I mean, this is pre-internet. Did she interview
She
her?
types in like, I need the meanest babysitter of all time who is also an old lady who sucks and smells.
And why is that woman babysitting? I don't know.
This was before Lyft, when nice old people could drive cars for a living and chauffeur people around as their side job. So I don't know. But she's terrible. So she immediately sets them to work and is like, do these chores. Like, you can't watch TV, no smoking, all these terrible things that is driving Sue Ellen and her brothers and sisters crazy. Makes them wear name tags. Just like, she's just awful. Yep. So after a while, they've decided they've had enough. So Sue Ellen, as the eldest child, says, all right, I'm going to talk to her. I'll let her know this is ridiculous, that like we're not going to put up with this all summer. So she goes to Mrs. Sturak's room and is like, Mrs. Sturak, I've talked to you. And Mr. X like sitting oddly in her chair, which is never a good sign. And then she turns the chair around and Mrs. Sturak is dead.
Real dead.
Dead. Died of natural causes, most likely. But I think it's because...
Probably choked on her whistle.
No. Yes. Maybe that. But I think more likely, right before this, she goes into Kenny's room and sees all of his like weed posters, his naked lady posters, his sloppy room.
Last time.
And is like, oh my God, this is terrifying. And it gives her a heart attack and she dies.
So basically, Kenny is a murderer.
So Kenny did it. So that's what happened. So they freak out and they're like, what do we do? Should we call somebody? Would you report it? What do we do? Call mom? No, mom will come home. So they decide the best idea is to stuff the babysitter in a trunk and carry her to a mortuary, leave her on the doorstep with a note that says, nice old lady inside, died of natural causes. And they leave her and drive off, taking her nice, cool old car to use. So they're like, great, that problem's over with.
Woo!
Woo! So
summer freedom can begin.
So then they're like, all right, let's get that money and go grocery shopping. Marketing, as Sue Ellen says. So they realize quickly that they don't have the envelope with all the money that the mother left them. Unfortunately, the money was on Mr. X. So she had all that money in her this whole time.
Let's theorize how much money we think it is.
2 months in 1991.
Maybe a couple thousand.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean,
I have no
like
idea.
really was just grocery money and spending money for the kids, right?
And there's a lot of kids.
Yeah. For some reason, I have like 5,000 in my head, but that seems like a lot of money for
In the
1991.
90s, yeah, forget it.
Yeah, let's say $2,000. Maybe.
Okay, yeah. So all that money's gone. So they're like, fuck, what do we do now? So they decide that one of them needs to get a job. So they flip the Mama Celeste box to see who has to get a job, Sue Ellen or Kenny. Mama Celeste side up. Sue Ellen gets the job.
Yep.
And that's what it is. So Sue Ellen's got to go to work, guys.
I love that scene where it's like the pizza box flips like super slowly, and then it lands Mama side up.
Great shot.
Yep.
Great shot.
And then it goes, then the clown dog music just happens. So good. So good. So poor Sue Ellen.
Yeah.
For some reason, can't get a job anywhere else except this horrible, disgusting fast food place nightmare called Clown Dog, which is basically like a giant big top, and they have to wear, those like wedge caps and all white. And, she starts from the bottom at the fast food. So she has to do like cleanup duty basically. And let's say washing the, he calls them happy fat baths.
I thought they were fat vats.
Maybe it's fat vats. That might be right.
I don't know. So Mr. Egg is the
Mr.
guy
Egg.
that owns this place, and he's very jolly to the point of annoyance. And Sue Ellen just can't hack this. She's like, it's disgusting. It is the reason why I will never eat a chili dog in my life, because of this movie and this scene. It's just very awful. And so she's washing the happy fat vats with Brian, the cute guy who works there, who has been there long enough that he gets to run the deliveries.
Yeah, he's got a cushy job. He's doing the delivery van.
And in his classic wedge cap, and he's rocking it. So
But
she's
what fast food place delivers? What's up with that?
I don't know.
No drive-through, but delivery?
I got delivery McDonald's once
What?
at a very low point in my life.
Let's hear that story at the end.
So it's possible. Anything's possible. But they have their own van. It's very professional. Anyway, so Sue Ellen's had enough, and Mr. Egg's like, Sue Ellen, after you're finished watching the Fat Bats, you get to wipe the spitballs off the drive-through window with a really fun squeegee. And she's like, you know what, Mr. Egg?
Look, Mr. Egg, finish the happy fat bats yourself. And then she like takes off her gloves and she already has her hair down at this point. And then it's like this music starts and it's this like amazing getting to work montage. Making a living the old hard way. I take it slowly day by day. I dig the snow and the rain and the bright sunshine.
What does that mean?
Dragging the line.
I dig the snow and the bright sunshine. What? I don't
He
get
just
it.
likes everything. So she's like, fuck this. I'm getting a real job, even though she's 17 and has no experience doing anything except like sitting on her butt. So she does what anyone would do, is fakes a resume, rifles through her mom's closet and gets the most adult looking outfit she can get and finds a job
still
as
cool.
an administrative assistant at General Apparel West, or GAW.
Which makes uniforms.
Yeah. Oh wait, no. It was a it's a receptionist position.
Yes. So she
I don't know why I
goes.
suddenly turned to British.
She goes to apply there, and the receptionist who greets her is very bitchy. And then she gets up to get a fax or like whatever the fuck receptionists do back then.
You must go to personnel. That is on the 4th floor.
We'll get there. So Sue Ellen's like waiting for her to come back, and then this woman approaches and is like, ugh, where's Caroline? I need blah, blah, blah. And then Sue Ellen says like some witty remark, and Rose is like, oh, well, like, what are you here for?
Looks like she's chewing her face, I believe.
And she's like, oh, I'm applying for the receptionist job. And she's like, oh, is that your resume? Can I see it? So she looks at it. And of course, because Sue Ellen copied it out of a resume book and then added all these glamorous fashion jobs like Calvin Klein and like all this shit.
A Vassar gal.
A Vassar gal. Rose is like, wow, you're super overqualified to be a receptionist. Why don't you work for me instead as my executive assistant? And I'll just say I hired you like off, like on my own. And so, I mean, pretty much this doesn't happen to anybody. So if you are watching this movie as a child, as I was like, sweet. All I need to do to get a job is stand at a desk until someone's like, can I see your resume? And then wants to hire me. It's great. It'll be easy.
There's truth behind that, though. I mean, do people check references? Because literally, all the jobs I've applied to, no one has called my references. I've asked them.
Mine one has.
Okay.
So, yeah. I mean, some do. But I mean, it depends. And I don't know if back then they were as vigilant about it as maybe they are now. Who knows? Debatable. I still think that this movie, as well as Big, really taught me that you don't need actual experience to do anything. Anyway, so Sue Ellen is the executive assistant. Hooray. So it's a real job. She gets real money. She also has access to something called petty cash, which is very exciting, where it's just cash for the office that you can use, and then you keep a receipt, and then it gets replenished at the end. Mm-hmm. So she doesn't know how to do anything, including like how to use the computer. She has to do something called the QED report, which sounds very ominous. I don't know. She's like, I'll worry about that later. For now, I'm awesome. So the kids celebrate. They're all excited. Sue Ellen kind of quickly learns the ropes, blah, blah, blah. She gets her first paycheck and is like, oh no, it's for like half of what I thought it was going to be because of all these taxes.
But she had already taken from petty cash, right?
But it doesn't go against her check. That was like a separate issue.
No. She steals from petty cash first, and then she's like, but I'm getting paid, so I'm going to replace it.
Right. So she takes money from petty cash to get groceries.
You know when you get a new job, you don't get paid for like weeks.
Ugh, yeah, it's the worst. So now they're in trouble. So
she's stolen all of petty cash.
She's stolen all of petty cash. So then, meanwhile, she strikes up a romance with Brian, the clown dog delivery guy, and she starts to really like him. Unfortunately, she discovers that his sister is that bitchy receptionist from the beginning.
Small world.
Yeah. So she can never tell him what she actually does for a living, and he thinks she's hiding something, and it's put a damper on the relationship.
It's not a good way to start a relationship. Let's just say it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, after like summer shenanigans, all the kids, blah, 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 blah. General Apparel West is having bad sales. Turns out no one likes to wear a school uniform. Who knew? So they think that this new school uniform deal they've struck with the school is going to be like their saving grace. So Rose, her boss, makes this big presentation. Unfortunately, it doesn't go well, and the kids riot and they burn uniforms.
Yeah, who wants to wear uniforms? Ugly as fuck.
Yeah, so it's bad news. So everyone thinks the company's going under. And then Sue Ellen is actually quite brilliant and creative. And she thinks of a way to save the company, which is by creating all these cool uniforms that kids will want to wear. So school uniforms as well as other uniforms that you can wear in various other jobs, referees, chefs, hotel,
so
bellman.
It's not
everything.
I will talk about this later, but it's not just school uniforms, unbeknownst to my 10-year-old self.
And you're 34-year-old.
Oh, wait.
Oh, you were 33 then. Anyways, yeah. So that's what happened. So it's very exciting, and they decide, let's throw a big fashion show, and we'll show off all these things. It's going to save the company, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Oh, how about Sue Ellen says, instead of hiring a big banquet hall, because she doesn't have any money left in petty cash because she spent it all, so they can't use that to pay for the banquet hall. She says, why don't we have it at my house? It's fabulous. It'll be great.
She's really very smart.
She is. But this does mean that they finally have to clean up that piece of shit house and the yard and the pool and everything.
About time.
So her and all Kenny's friends and everybody gets together, and they really work together to make this house amazing. Meanwhile, Kenny, the pothead, has been having a great career watching Julia Child on TV during the day and is suddenly a chef. A great chef.
Yeah,
so
what is his, like,
he does the catering.
impetus to, like, clean up again? I forget. Like, because they form, like, a dynamic where, like, he's the stay-at-home mom and she has to work. So she's like, if I'm working, you have to take care
he's
of
really taken a
stuff.
liking to cooking and really decides it's his calling. So
And
it's
then once
kinda,
Walter breaks his leg, he, like, tries to be more responsible. Yeah. So it's like once he got approached with, like, having to have responsibilities, he just took it by the
scrotum.
What is it? I don't know. Took a bull by the horns.
Sure, there it is. So they throw this big fashion show. It's great. It's a big success. But unfortunately, Sue Ellen's mother shows up at the very end, as does Brian, the clown dog employee, who's convinced she's hiding something from him. So it's two worlds colliding. Her mom's like, what the fuck? And then Sue Ellen says, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to come clean. So she comes clean to, instead of being like, Rose, can I speak to you over here? She unveils this truth in front of all the important investors and buyers, which I wouldn't do, but it turned out for the better. Because as Rose says, the investors didn't give a crap about that. Like they bought it anyways. They loved it. So everything's fine. Rose is like, listen, if you want after college, or like I can get you into Vassar or something, like call me after college, like you'll be great. So everything's fine. The mom's mad, but at the same time, like, wow, the kids clean the house. Cool.
Yeah.
They really did it on their own.
I mean, they just need responsibility, just like I was saying. Like the mom maybe was an enabler.
Totally.
And as being a single mom and not probably being like, God, like I have all these kids and like, oh my God, I just can't do it all. Obviously, the mom like deserved to go away. But in some ways, I think like she just had given up because she didn't have any help. And I think at one point they do mention a dad, but it basically gets like shoved under the rug.
They're like, no, I don't
once
wanna
they
call
figure out
dad.
who to call.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we should call dad. And he's like, I don't want to call dad.
Yeah,
So you know that's like probably a really
They don't
bad
like him.
thing.
Yeah. So she makes up with her mom, makes up with Brian, basically, and is like, this is why I couldn't tell you, blah, blah, blah. That's all fine and well. So everything appears to be good. And then the last line of the movie, the mom says, Sue Ellen, what happened to the babysitter? Dun, 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 dun. And it plays that cool song again. And that's the flip. So sorry, I mean, that was super long-winded, but again, we haven't seen this since November, so I was kind of walking through it, talking.
It's like having someone stop you on the street and being like, hey, tell me the plot of Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Can I?
It's troubling, but I got it. And I had I got the lines word for word.
It's all here.
It's still there.
It's all here.
It's still all there.
Right up here.
But anyways, another one of our family favorites, another movie that I feel like whenever it's on TV, you have to watch it.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think like mostly a TV one. We might have rented it like a couple times, but I don't remember like a lot. But because it was always on TV. This came out in 91, so it's like an early 90s one. So when we would have been like super little too. So I feel like it must have been in syndication around when we were 10, 11, 12.
Definitely.
And yeah, it is funny, good plot. I think everyone wants to be Christina Applegate, and this really like catapulted her to. I mean, she was Kelly Bundy, right? And then this kind of took her into a whole.
Yeah, I think she was already pretty big, but
place.
this totally. And she just so what her big thing in this is like taking clothes that are maybe not so cool. So she rifles through her mother's wardrobe, which isn't the coolest, but she pulls like a jacket from this dress and then a blouse over here, puts it together, and it somehow magically works, even though they're totally different color palettes and patterns. It's just amazing. Her talent is crazy.
No, it is. I mean, she's hopefully will go to fashion school after like this whole debacle. But two things. So I had like major, well, now I currently do, brow and bang envy from her. Brows being so big now, like real nice thick brows and nice bangs. She's awesome brows and bangs, so good for you. Also, that part where she's like takes the Vogue magazine and is like putting like stripes on shirts as she's like talking on the phone with someone. I would do that all the time. Be like, I'm gonna be in fashion too.
Yes, me too.
Like, this is all it takes. Yeah, I'm just gonna like change these clothes. Like, look at me.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, this movie gives you a really untrue expectation of what life is gonna be like. Yeah. I watched this movie and I was like, okay, I can totally be an adult. I'm prepared. I know how to use a fax machine. I know how to do the QED report. You just give it to the nice lady down the hall who likes to do that shit. She does it for free and likes it. Like, that's it. Anything. What petty cash is, put cucumbers on your eyes. Like, I got all of it. I'm ready for adulthood. And then when adulthood actually came, I was like, okay, well, this sucks. This isn't at all like Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead told me it was going to be like, but whatever.
Sue Ellen is that it's like not only that she has to have to go to work every day, and that does totally blow if you've never worked before. Like, did she not have little summer jobs? I guess that's like not what she did. I don't know how she had any money at all. But she also has 4 kids to take care of. Kids, I mean, Kenny, let's say Kenny's not one, but at least like 3 like kind of young kids. That blows. And they're like pretty independent, doing like whatever, but like. And I think obviously the whole point of the movie being that like she didn't have the greatest relationship with her mom. And then once she was like stepped into her mom's shoes, she's like, wow, I need to give this woman some credit. Like, this is tough going right now.
Totally.
So good for her. And so I always think it's, so I don't know why the mom is 37. Like, why do I say that the mom is 37? Did I make that up or is that somewhere?
I think Sue Ellen says a line, something like that.
So if you do the math, she would have been then 20 years old when she had Sue Ellen, who's the oldest. And then in the course of 10 years, had the rest of the children.
Pretty miserable.
For her mom.
Yeah, they're like stuck out in the middle of, that house is in the middle of nowheresville in California somewhere. Just very.
Must be outside of LA though,
drab.
Right? That's LA.
Yeah. I guess. As an LA expert, having been there for 2 days. Probably. But yeah, miserable life. So God. Yeah, no, she deserves to go to Australia for 2 months.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
Fuck that.
No, definitely.
She's fine. But yeah, this movie definitely made me want to be an adult. It's one of those movies where you look at it and say, being an adult is going to be great.
Yes.
I can't wait to go to work at a cool office, get hit on by like a sleazy guy named Gus. Not just kidding. I don't want that to happen to anyone. It's very inappropriate if it does tell.
But
tell
again,
HR.
like not realistic. That's not what
realistic
my
at
first
all.
job was like at all.
No, not at all. So what else did it teach me? Oh, it taught me that, and this is a great note I wrote down in my notebook, temps are weird. So there's a scene where, so she's been giving this thing called the QED report to her friend Kathy to do, which is
quarterly estimate
data or something.
Data?
No, I don't know. But it's a thing. So it comes, and Rose, this is what I love about the QED report, is that it is presented to Sue Ellen from Rose in this like gigantic binder with all these loose pieces of paper sticking out, very disorganized. She gives it to Kathy. Kathy like does something, brings it back in another binder. All the pages are super crisp, delightful. I love that so much. There's like a weird sense of just happiness I get from that, where I'm like, oh, the QED report at last.
So just for everyone who wants to know, I just want to, this is what it is. The QED Manifesto, hopefully that's the same thing, was a proposal for a computer-based database of all mathematical knowledge, strictly formalized and with all proofs having been checked automatically. QED means quod erat demonstratum in Latin, meaning which had to be demonstrated. So I think it was just like a data collection kind of thing from with that early computers kind of like churned out. So who knows what it might have been, like, I don't know, sales figures, you know, it's just like a report that gets churned out of like all this like useless data, or maybe even like useful data that they use to track cost or earnings or like whatever. Anyways,
love that QED report.
So there's like such a funny dynamic with this movie being like, okay, like the office shenanigans, right? And her like adult worlding kind of stuff. And then her having to deal with the kid stuff. And then, which she's still kind of adult again. And then her Brian side, which is like the 17-year-old Sue Ellen. Mm-hmm. So it's like she's trying to balance like all these sides of her personality. And they're all kind of like equally enjoyable. I mean, is the Brian stuff? I don't know.
Yeah, it's the Brian stuff's kind of a snooze fest.
I think my thing, and I think I brought this up last time, was that I felt that they were like an unmatched couple. I just didn't really feel like they had a lot in common. Brian was like a nerd who on a first date was like, yeah, let's like teach her like about this grunion mating activity on the beach, which I don't know if you follow our Instagram, which you should. Large March Sanos. When we were in LA, we found a thing, where were we? Venice Beach, right? Yeah. They had a billboard, not a billboard, but like a sign about the grunion running. And that's on our Instagram. And I took a picture of it and was like, better tell Sue Ellen Crandall. It's time. So crazy.
Yeah, he's kind of a nerd. And I feel like he was the only guy around. I don't know where everyone else was in the summer, but she likes, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like no one else was around. Who else was she going to meet, I guess, if you don't have a job?
Yeah.
Or you have a job
at
an
no
office.
Talk of other boys or old like boyfriends or anything like that.
Which is weird because she's like a knockout.
Yeah.
She's gorgeous, so it's interesting. But yeah, Brian's kind of a snooze fest. So I don't love those parts. I found him to be kind of a downer, to be honest. He's like, he like cries about Sue Ellen like not like hiding something from him. Like brings a chili dog to his bitchy sister and like cries in the reception room. And he's like, I just don't know what to do. She won't talk to me.
Yeah, they were also dating for like 2 weeks.
I know.
Like get over it. Go drive your clown car somewhere else.
So the theme of Clown Dog is that like circus music, and it's Brian's theme. So whenever, so there's this.
Is that on like the soundtrack? Brian's theme.
I bet it is. That's what they do. So there's this part where before she realizes that Brian is this receptionist's sister, who I'm blanking on her name. I don't care. Caroline. Who knows? Caroline. Ooh. Who knows? Get back to me. She sees a clown dog bag at her desk, and she's like, "Who brought that?" And Carolyn's like, "Oh, my little brother drives a delivery truck." So you just hear the little Sue Ellen like thinks about it, and then you just hear the like do 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 music in her head. So she's like putting the pieces together. Pretty ingenious. I love that little snippet. It's great.
What's your favorite scene?
So my favorite scene is the fashion show.
Yeah, that's mine.
That's fine. It's a lot to talk about.
I just wrote my favorite phrase from it.
Whipping up excitement in her boots. I knew. I didn't need to look at it. I knew that was your favorite line. So her friends, her like glamorous friends, come back from Paris. Fuck you. They all like went to Paris for a trip. And they were like not rich enough to pay for Sue Ellen's ticket. Also, fuck you. So all her friends come back, and she's like, "Oh, you're just in time. You can be models in this fashion show where for my job that I'm pretending to be a 25-year-old woman at." I know. Plot hole.
This is my summer job.
So all of her friends get to like wear the cool uniforms that she designed. So, and then there's this awesome runway that they construct across the pool. There's curtain. It's very professional. I don't know how Kenny's friends put that together.
Kenny's stoner friends, who probably all go to like the tech school, are like actually really good at their job. They can ice sculpt. They can build runways. They can like clean pools and make things like amazing.
I just need to point out that this is now the third time that someone in a movie has become an expert ice sculptor in a matter of days.
I think that's the most like wild talent you can possibly have. That's why movie writers throw it in there. They're like, this isn't really wow.
Yes, it's crazy.
Ice sculptures.
But yeah, it's a good spread. So the fashion show, her friends come out one at a time, and Sue Ellen's also the the announcer or whatever. MC of the fashion show. So her friends come out. She says a little spiel about them. So Sweetie's favorite is Katrina.
So first it's very calm, and the fashion show is just like going along as it should. And then Kenny's like Mrs. Crandall,
before that she hears Brian's clown dog.
Okay, Brian the clown dog. He's like coming to. They've kind of been like not. She hasn't been talking to him. Maybe slightly ghosting him in today's terms. And so he comes with the clown dog car and is over the loudspeaker. Why does he have a loudspeaker? That's like a weird so that he can be like, "Hey kids, the clown dog's here. Come get your chili dog. Delivery for chili dogs." So he's like over this loudspeaker in the clown dog car and being like, pouring his heart out, like, "Sue Ellen, I know we've had some rough times, but like I really love you." Like, also cool up, Brian. You've known him for like 2 weeks.
Oh my god, I choked. Okay, you know what that just reminded me of? The loudspeaker.
What?
On a family vacation, we were in Maine or something. Our dad was driving, and he was like spaced out or something, and the light changed to green to red to green, and then there was an ambulance behind us, and they got on the loudspeaker, and they were like, "Let's not stop at the green lights now."
That's funny.
We were like, "Who is that? It's the voice of God."
Yeah.
So that just reminded me of that. Sorry,
Anyway,
I
so
choked on my wine.
Brian comes and is like pouring his heart out, and then so she's like, "Shit, I gotta like wrap up this whole thing." And so she starts kind of speeding through the fashion show. So her friends are like trying to take their time walking through, and she's trying to like speed along. It's like, "Okay, and here's Becky as our Boy Scout. Thank you, Becky." And Becky's like just a couple like in the middle of the thing. She hasn't even had time to walk. But the best part is Katrina, who is the chef. Basically looks like a jester. I don't know what was going on with that fucking chef outfit, but like it was basically a crazy satin jester outfit. And so Katrina's like doing this like kind of like running. What is that?
Running
the Roger
Man.
Rabbit
The
or the
Running
Running
Man?
Man step.
But she has a giant bowl
Yeah,
and a whisk.
bowl and a whisk. And she's like, "And here is Katrina, who is whipping up excitement in her boots. Thank you, Katrina." And like Katrina's at like the beginning of the runway and has to like whip and do the Running Man like wicked fast down the runway. It is the best.
She makes this funny face. It's like, what?
Where is Katrina now?
I love
It's
Katrina.
my favorite part.
Best part.
And then second best part is that so she decides to keep the ruse going. Involve Brian as part of the uniforms because he's wearing a fast food uniform. So he's like,
And he's now arrived at the house.
And he's arrived at the house. So he's like, "And the highlight of our show today is Brian in our fast food uniform. Brian is wearing young Brian is wearing a white uniform, blah blah blah." And the best line is, "With a classic wedge cap."
So good. I love that. It's just a great scene.
And then the mom ends up coming, and it's just like the wall, everything crumbles, and she's like, "Fuck, like I gotta come clean." So she's this whole speech where she's like, "Hi, I'm only 17. I don't know what I'm doing." Blah blah blah. But yeah, so good. Such a good scene. The end scene. It's kind of sad. It's kind of funny. It's kind of everything.
A lot of emotions. So something that confused. So if we talk about Sweetie confusion. So there's a scene in the beginning where they're all at Chuck E. Cheese, like living the dream on the petty cash or whatever, and they have Mr. X, like awesome old, whatever kind of cult, like was that an Oldsmobile? I don't know, very old, all black, pretty cool. So they like go out to the parking lot to go home.
I think it's a
Buick, and there's 3 drag queens like hot wiring the car, and they see the kids approach, and they're like, "Come on!" And the drag queen driving the car is dressed like Liza Minnelli, and the other one is Marilyn Monroe, and who's the third one?
I don't know.
I forget. So and then Sue Ellen, and then the car drives away, and Sue Ellen and Kenny look at each other and go, "Liza?" So never got that when I was little. I was like, "Who's Liza?" Oh, now I know. That's a little bit of fun.
Should I do my main one that is
Yes.
continued for my 33 years of life?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I was super confused, essentially my whole life, about the whole General Apparel West thing and how I thought it was really just clothing for uniforms for school. So, because that's really all they mentioned during the thing about the whole movie, about how, they want to make uniforms cool for students, and the students riot. Uniforms are always like, well, our school didn't have them, but I remember like it being a thing when actually a lot of them, it was being talked about that schools were going to get uniforms and stuff, that like violence and like trouble in school, a lot of people think it had to do, especially I feel like within the 90s, maybe when clothes were like such a big thing, like you had this like pair of designer jeans or these like really nice sneakers or like, I don't know, like stuff like that. I guess it's like still kind of like that, but it was such like a class symbol, and they wanted people to be kind of like the same, so they would put you in uniforms. But then it obviously like takes a lot of your individuality out of you. I think like our school started doing some like clothing restrictions, just about like spaghetti straps and like weird stuff like that, right?
No one cared. I mean, unless you were wearing like underwear. I don't
Some
think.
schools are a little more strict than others. But anyway, so the whole theme is like schools, right? And what makes Sue Ellen like good at the job is that she was just in school, so like she can have that sort of like connection to it.
Knows what kids like, what they don't like, etc.
Yeah, she like was just there. So that's what I thought it was like all about. So then when they do the fashion show at the end, so okay, these are the different uniforms that they show, right? So it is a nurse's uniform, a Boy Scout uniform, a chef, a referee,
A nurse? Did you say that one?
a nurse. Yeah, I think that's it.
Bellhop.
Oh, bellhop. Yeah. So I thought these were like uniforms that like to make kids want to wear them in school. You could like be one of these characters, let's say. So you could be like, oh, I would totally wear this uniform. It looks like a sexy nurse, and like wear that to school. But then I was like, again, I was talking about like the jester chef one. I was like, and I think when we were watching this movie in November, I turned to Sweetie and I go, who the fuck would want to be a jester chef as their school uniform? And Sweetie's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, who would wear that uniform to school? She's like, what school? I'm like, it's your school uniform. And she's like, that's not school uniform. That's like if you were a chef as your profession, that is what you would wear. Oh my God. It was like the gates had opened. I was like, whoa. Like,
Your Sweetie confusion is
God.
always the best because it's so honest and like I just love it.
literally no idea.
Bless your heart.
You're like, what are you talking about?
But
Who would wanna be a
still-
Boy Scout?
But still, what nurse would be like, let me wear this hot pink dress that is basically spandex, tight tube dress?
It was a little too sexy. But is it like along the lines of how like runway stuff, you like pare it down for like real world
I
wear?
don't know how you can pare that down. But yeah, the colors are super bright. I honestly, unfortunately, I know the buyers were super into all of these uniforms, but I just don't see it working in the real world.
Nope.
I don't see any hotel that's like, we can all dress in different colors. You can be a purple bellhop. You can be turquoise. You can be red. Like, no one's going to do that. They're going to be like, we need straight lace. It's been straight lace for years. It still hasn't happened that we've gotten to the Sue Ellen Crandall style. So unfortunately, it just wasn't meant to be.
Right. Well, and this is why I was confused, because the whole thing is that the buyers is because the school part was rioting, but it didn't say anything about those other industries not wanting to wear uniforms. You wear uniform because you're getting paid. That's why you do it. Of course, students aren't going to wear them. They're not getting paid to do the
So
uniforms.
this was a way, because they were losing all that money from the school uniform sex, which I think was like their big money maker, that she was making up the difference by making these uniforms more exciting for buyers to purchase or whatever. So that's,
I don't know. It's still
what
fuzzy
that's
because
from.
I feel like they're always going to have to buy uniforms and want to make them like super cheap and not stylish, because like you don't want those people to stand out. They're the help, you know?
Right. Yeah. It's a shot. I think it's a bad business plan, and I don't understand how it worked. But on the plus side, Sue Ellen doesn't have this job anymore. So if it all goes wrong, she's not there.
She was a perfect scapegoat. Yeah.
So everyone wins.
Yep.
Yeah.
Question for you.
Okay.
Does Rose wear a wig?
I think so. There's definitely something about it is off with her hair, right? It's too perfectly straight, and it's weird volume.
Yeah, and it's just that weird like underside of wigs where there's like sort of a real gap between like too much air in your back kind of
Yes, yes.
Didn't we like see her something in recently, and we were like, "Oh my god, it's Rose Lindsay!" Oh,
someone told us.
Roger Rabbit. No.
Oh, Roger Rabbit. Yeah. Of course.
And she definitely did not have a wig in that, and that's I think why we were like, "Oh, maybe she has a wig in this."
Yeah.
Was her hair that color though? It was darker.
I think it was darker. Yeah. No, I can't remember. But no, yeah. I mean, it's probably a wig. Here's what I've learned in life. Usually always a wig.
Yeah.
Like, people you didn't realize had a wig, it's a wig.
Yeah.
Is that a wig? That's a wig.
wig.
As
Tina
girls
Turner.
Tina Turner wears a wig. Yeah, so that's what I have to know. That's what I've learned.
I think we have to talk, give a little bit of an ode to Keith Coogan in this, as I feel like we really waxed on about him when we did this before.
Coogan, we love
So we had
you.
watched, according to our notes, Adventures in Babysitting, like 2 movies before this. So we really had almost back-to-back babysitting
before
kind
the
of stuff.
fiasco happened. I think we were almost talking about a possible Keith Coogan month spotlight.
Yeah, we tried. Really, there's only 2, but then there was 2 more.
probably more.
The Cheetah one that I keep like such a good movie, and I want to watch so bad. I feel like there was one other. Wait, is he in Far and Away? No, he's in Cheetah, not Far and Away. But pretty awesome that Keith Coogan is known for 2 movies about babysitting.
Toy Soldiers.
Oh yeah. As one of our fans, Ryan Ferguson, commented on my spoiler Instagram post about how bizarre it is that Keith Coogan is in 2 babysitting movies pretty close to each other and like what he's known for. What's your favorite Keith Coogan? Is it Kenny or is it Brad? Kenny Brad.
Well, Kenny's such a more prominent character. So like his stoner stuff is funny, but so is his post-stoner stuff. Yeah. So everybody's favorite line from Kenny is Sue Ellen tells him to do something because she's doing all the work and he's not doing anything. His friends get the munchies and eat all the food that she stole petty cash from to buy, and she's pissed. Obviously, I would be too. And she's like, "Can you at least do the dishes?" So he's like, "Yeah, I'll do the dishes." So to him, doing the dishes is fun if you play skeet or whatever and have your friends like toss the dishes like a frisbee, and then you shoot the dishes with a shotgun in midair. Super fun. So he does all that, and then the dishes are broken. Yeah. So then he's like, "The dishes are done, man," or like whatever. So everyone loves saying that when they've completed.
Probably one of the most famous lines.
Actually washing the dishes, though, not shooting the dishes with a shotgun.
Right on top of that rose.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's like his big line, and he is a great character. And one of my other favorite parts is that this funny brother sister turned husband wife dynamic that Sue Ellen and Kenny have. And my favorite part between them is when she comes home late from one of her all nighters, like organizing the fashion show, and Kenny's very upset, and she's like, "What's with you?" And he like slams the oven, and he's like, "Well, you could have called if you were gonna be 3 hours late." And she was like, "I'm sorry, like it was a long meeting." And he was like, "I burnt like my souffle burnt," or like whatever. And he gets like upset about it, and then they get into this hilarious fight that is like word for word what a husband and wife fight about, but with the roles reversed. So Kenny is the woman, and Sue Ellen's the man who's like works too hard. And it's just
doing
so
your party
funny.
shit.
Yeah. And then they kind of make up at the end, and she goes, "Look, you didn't have to do all this. I never asked you to whisk the couch." And he goes, "Well, it needed it." So I feel like we say that too occasionally.
He had a whisker. He had like an actual whisker, which was like a broom with just the bottom part.
So what is that like gets the like
the crumbs and all the shit off the couch?
Okay, all right. Yeah. It doesn't rejuvenate the couch. Who knows?
No. How do you do that? How do you do that? Tell me about this magic.
No, like fluffing pillows. You're like getting it back to base to how it was. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean Kenny's awesome. Like he's kind of a little shit in the beginning, but you still like him. But then he turns into like an amazing person. And then biggest evidence for people who have long straggly punk hair and should cut it is this movie, right? Because he turns into stoner, like kind of bad style and whatever, to like amazingly handsome, gorgeous Kenneth. Remember? He's like, "Actually, it's Kenneth."
Oh yeah, and then his other line that he always says, that I always say, is so Melissa's baseball team are the cater waiters for the fashion show event, and Kenny caters it. So he's the maitre d'. Oh no, Zach's the maitre d'. Kenny's just like the caterer. I don't know, head chef. So he's like looking at all the trays as they're going out, and the baseball kids are bringing them out, and he goes, good tray, good tray, good tray. So I just say that like when things are looking good, like doesn't like most lines that we use in everyday life, it doesn't have anything to do with actual trays. I'll just be like, I'll put on my dress, I'll like get my hair all set, and then I'll be like, good tray, good tray, good tray, we're ready. And like that, it works. So okay. I recommend you use it often.
Yeah. I just thought another sweetie confusion. Okay, so and then see if you guys agree with us. So I thought that when the car gets stolen from the arcade, and they had just spent their last money on pizza, so they're going home, and they call the clown dog car to come get them, and he drops them off, and she's kind of talking to them. They haven't started going out yet. Like, this is the first time she's called him after quitting. This is how they rekindle, right? And so they're kind of like talking, and the kids are inside, and Kenny's like, Sue Ellen, you better like hurry up. Zach and Melissa are fighting over the last snowball. And then it's like, ah! And like all this like fighting noises. And Brian's like, oh, like I have some leftover clown dog deliveries. Like, do you want them? And Sue Ellen's like, that's okay. And then someone's like, ah! Like this crazy scream. She's like, glass breaking. Maybe I'll take those. So last snowball, I thought it meant that they were like so hard up that they had like, okay, this is wild, had like saved or eating like ice snowballs, like had saved up from winter in the freezer. I have no idea why.
It's California, there's no snow.
I missed that part. And did not know or realize that it was snowballs, the delicious coconut pink confections from Hostess. So that was
really?
a dumb move
Wow.
on my part. But I felt like they were in such desperation. They're like fighting over the last ice chunk.
Yeah, that makes sense. But instead they're fighting over the last disgusting Hostess treat of disgusting fake coconut and marshmallow and weird chocolate cake. Man, snowballs, gross. Those are always at the gas station, of course, and I'm always just like, damn, those are sick.
Hey, guess what?
What?
This was David Duchovny's first movie.
Oh, we didn't even talk about David Duchovny. So he plays this like gross, greasy, slick guy who's like, is he Caroline's boyfriend?
Yeah.
Boy toy? Who knows? They're like in cahoots together because they're convinced that Sue Ellen isn't who she says she is, which, ta-da, they're right.
Bruce.
His name is Bruce.
That's a good scene too.
Oh yeah, that's another one of my favorite scenes is that he like strolls into her office and is like, well, what happened to Meredith, the girl that used to work here? And Sue Ellen's on the phone with Kenny, and he's bothering her, and she's like, I'll be with you in a minute. And then he's like, hello, I'm trying to talk to you. And she like puts her hand over the phone and is like, what is your name and what do you do here?
Bruce. I work in manufacturing or something.
Okay, Bruce. She like gives him like a very matter of fact, like, when I'm done with this call, I'll give you a buzz and you can come fetch those reports. And he's like, okay, fuck you.
Them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they he and Caroline work together to kind of bring Sue Ellen down and find out her dirty history or whatever. So that's his character. And they end up finding her license. She leaves her purse. Who leaves their purse at the off? Like, what? Obviously she's not a real adult because you always have your purse with you. Am I right? Even if it's a weird, like, lunchbox purse.
Yeah, that was a weird purse. It's really heavy and bulky.
So, which isn't, like, why would you forget that? Yeah. You'd be like, where's my weird lunchbox
It's the one
purse?
thing you leave with every day. That's
but I guess she had, like, the briefcase. She had all the presentation stuff with her. Maybe she forgot. I don't know. But yeah, and then so they try to tell Rose, they're like, look, we found her ID. She's actually 17. And Rose is like, you two are so immature.
Grow up, Carolyn.
Ugh, good scene.
What about Gus?
Gus is Rose's boyfriend, who is now hitting on Sue Ellen, which is very gross because she's only 17 and he's clearly like in his 40s. He's probably really in his 30s, but
no, he is his 50s. He's an older man. Rose Lindsay is
50s in the movie? No.
Rose Lindsay is in her 40s. They're in their 40s. Rose Lindsay is 40. She's like an executive.
So?
You're 40 or you're not
Times
30.
they are changing.
No. No,
Okay,
they're
well, whatever.
he's like 50.
He's gross, and so he like hits on Sue Ellen and is like, "Want to go to lunch?" And she doesn't really like pick up on the like. If you go to lunch with someone, it means something else, which it shouldn't because it's in the workplace, so really it shouldn't be anything more.
He's dating her boss,
right? So she doesn't think anything of it, but then he starts making gross comments to her, like talking about like sweaty flings. Let's have a sweaty fling, like something gross. So she kind of like puts it off, and then there's a great scene at the end where she's like, "Gus, I think the scenario here is that you're a sleazeball," and she takes the little water gun that has like the cleaning solution in it that they use to wash the windows and like shoots his penis, so it looks like he like ejaculated in his pants. Oh, I always thought it was like a.
Oh no, that he just like peed himself.
No, because why is Rose so like, ew, what's happening
Rose
here?
is like, what's
she
going
got a
on here?
boner and then lost his cool in his
it's
pants.
not that specific. No, that doesn't happen.
Yes,
That's a
it
boner
does.
fantasy. No, it doesn't.
What? What do you think the stain on Monica Lewinsky's dress was? That's what happens.
She was jerking him off, and he ejaculated on her dress outside of the pants. He's a grown man. He's not ejaculating his pants.
Whatever. It was questionable, anyways. So that's a good scene. But yeah, Gus is gross, and unfortunately, he's. Oh well, fortunately, good for him. I'm sure he's a great actor, but unfortunately, whenever we see him in another role, we always associate him with sleazy Gus.
Only the one?
I'm sure there's others, but most recently he was in Transparent.
And he wasn't a sleazy role, but like if you've ever seen that show, he's like hooking up with the lead character, Mora, yeah. Which is a confusing scene because you're like, does he know that she's not a woman? Because he's talking about lady parts.
He does. I mean, he does. He still has she still has a penis.
No, but isn't he got the Gus guy talking about lady parts?
It's just like how he envisions it. It's
I don't know. But he's good in that. But yeah, he's a little rapey. Let's just say.
And he was in a lot of '80s movies, and he was in The Fly and maybe The Thing also. But he has a bunch of bit parts. I think he's just always like showing up, and he'll be like in one episode of Mad Men or something, and you're like, hey, it's Weird Gus.
Yeah.
But we're always gonna be like, oh look, it's creepy Gus.
It's creepy Gus.
So unfortunately, that's what happens when you take a role like this in a movie.
Yeah.
In the '90s. Anything else we are missing? I'm sure we are, because. Question. Wait. Who's going to go to college? Is there any other things you shouldn't tell your mom? Like, what would be another thing? They're like, don't tell mom, blank. Fill in the blank, sweetie. Your best, don't tell mom.
Don't tell mom you... This from, like, real life or just... fictional?
Anything. What is something you would not tell Carol?
Don't tell mom you drank shots with your friend the day before Father's Day and threw up all night.
Right, you're right.
It smells like puke down here.
Gross.
That's a true story.
Okay, mine is don't tell mom Ronnie Brunell pranked the 911 operator and then the police came.
Ronnie, at the house?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and then they have to show up anyway, so we had to like go out and talk to them. We're like, sorry, my friend called the cops.
You guys were bad.
So bad. So many bad things I did. But I mean, I think we've come clean about most of them. And now mom just laughs. Yeah. So it's fine. We're at that point. Once you get to like 30, things are fine. Tell her everything. It's going to be great.
Don't tell mom that when you were 12, you're trying to impress the neighborhood boy and you snuck up to your older sister's room and stole one of her bras, put dirt and rocks in it, and left it on the deck for her to find.
Why does that impress the... Oh, because you like did something gross?
Because he's like, go get your sister's bra. And I was like, okay.
What did Liz do?
She was pissed.
She didn't tell mom? She didn't tell mom that you did that? I feel like that's something she would do.
I don't know if I got in trouble. I don't remember. Yeah.
Don't tell mom you went in your older sister's bedroom and found a weird condom called Hot Fudge Sundae. Not your room, but Liz's. But weird. It looked like a matchbook, but it was a condom. It was called Hot Fudge.
I remember that condom.
You found it too?
No, you probably showed it to me. I'm like, cool.
No, I think I was too terrified, and I only showed my friend.
Oh, my God.
That's so funny. Oh, Liz, we love you.
I wish I was more of a bad kid. Don't.
Well, we were bad, but like
you left her pashmina at a wedding this September.
Oh no!
Oops.
That's been a long time. That's happened.
What?
That pashmina. That's been a secret for a while, and you just let it loose. So.
I just remembered.
Sorry, Carol.
Carol, I owe you a pashmina. I'm sorry. I literally just remembered. I was like
10 pashminas. It's fine. It's fine. Ugh, that was fun. That's a fun game.
Was there pizza here yet?
Yeah, we ordered pizza and it's not here yet. What the fuck? I think they said 7:50, so we have some time.
I'm so hungry.
But anyways, I guess that's it. I think we did pretty well for not having watched this since November.
Yeah, I mean, kind of random, but I feel like we covered the greatest
The
hits.
basics.
We covered all the good lines.
Sad thing about the kid that plays Zach, he died of drugs.
Yeah, I think it was a drug one.
When he was like 15 or 14, like not long after this.
In like a young Hollywood group, wasn't it?
Oh God, so many of them. Yeah. But yeah, he's a funny one. He's like weirdly mature in this movie.
Cynthia, you're my moon goddess.
He has this girlfriend named Cynthia who seems like a floozy, and she kind of sucks. I don't know. She seems boring to me. I don't know.
I love when she's like, you bought Cynthia the Zsa Zsa Gabor diamond ring,
and he goes, it was a chip.
Who wrote this movie? It is so good. It was a chip.
I'm gonna look it up. I bet it's somebody that we love.
God,
it has done a lot of movies.
It's like line after line, and it's just so good. And like,
I know.
was it appreciated in its day? I didn't really even check up on the trivia.
It only has a 6.1 out of 10 on IMDb.
What
the fuck?
I've never been more upset in my life.
Really pissed about that. The writer is Neil Landau and Tara Eisen. Neil also wrote such classics as a bunch of shitty cartoons. 3 episodes of The Secret World of Alex Mack.
Okay.
And 1 episode of Doogie Howser. Wow, this guy's done nothing. Let's check this. Let's check the woman here.
Sad. Maybe he just burned out.
The woman also wrote such classics as the same episode of Doogie Howser, and that's it. Wow.
God, well, good for you, buddy.
Yeah, you made it.
Harper Lee only really wrote To Kill a Mockingbird.
1 classic.
You just need 1.
And you're done. Everything is fine.
Yes, I just compared Harper Lee to the writer for Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. It happened.
But the director of this also did the cutting. Oh, just kidding. Not the Cutting Edge. The Cutting Edge, the TV movie, the sequel called Fire and Ice.
What?
Dumb.
TLC original movie.
The Mighty Ducks.
Okay. Legit.
Mr. Holland's Opus.
I don't love that movie.
Oh, I thought you did. No. The live action 101 Dalmatians.
Ugh,
no. Okay, forget it. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
All right.
There you go.
So do that one. I don't know anything about that movie. That might be a good one.
I've never even seen it. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Good
we'll
old
check it
Keanu.
out. You can check it out then.
Babes in Toilet.
Oh my God. No, it is his best role. You're wrong. Yeah. Good flick.
Yeah. I hope
Such
you guys.
a good flick. Obviously a classic.
Glad we finally got to do it. Hopefully it won't get erased.
Fingers crossed.
Tuesday problems.
So sorry this took so long to get to you. I didn't want to give up. The pizza's here.
We gotta
And
go.
Thank you for listening. Sweetie, take it away.
Thank you for listening. I never do this part, so I don't even know what to do. Our theme song. Do we still talk about the theme song? Our logo. Find us
on Twitter at the Sweetie Club and on Instagram at Large Marge Sent Us. Thanks for listening.
Bye. God, that was really horrible. But awesome. I actually felt like I lived the moment in Wayne's World where Garth is like Wayne exit and Garth is just like mentally I was Garth on the inside.
I'm having a good time. That's great.
I just had verbal diarrhea. I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Classic,
Yay,
Sweetie.
Full circle.
Woo! Okay. Well, anyways, thanks for listening. Okay.
Bye.